It's indeed my pleasure to welcome today Mrs. Deepa Malik. She is an Arjuna Awardee, a national level para-athlete, biker, and swimmer. Deepa started her career in sports at the age of 36 and went on to become the oldest and most severely disabled athlete in the country ever to receive the National Sports Award. On August 29, 2012, she was presented with the Arjuna Award by the President of India and for her remarkable journey into the world of athletics. Whether it is swimming against the strong Yamuna current, or riding a special bike, or being the first person in her category to be representing India in the Paralympics, she has done it all. She's also the first paraplegic to participate in the toughest Himalayan car rally in India. An army officer's wife, a mother of two, a former beauty queen, a biker, an accomplished swimmer on the international platform, you name it, she's done it all. And to top it all up, she also runs a successful restaurant. But Deepa was not born this way. When her husband, Colonel Malik, was away in Kargil fighting the war, Deepa was waging her own battle against a repeated occurrence of spinal tumors. But I read somewhere, she said that all this adversity has left her, her disability has left her a stronger person. She's found focus in life. She has overcome it all and has, turned it into opportunities. So she'd like us to see an audio visual, and then she'll speak. So welcome me in joining Deepa Malik.
You said it all.
Can you see, am I blocking your way?
No, it's okay. I can see it there also. Reduce the lights.
Hi, I'm Deepa Malik, and I have chest below paralysis. Only my shoulders are functional, and between the shoulder blades, I've had almost 200 stitches, and 7 vertebral columns are under laminectomy. I have to every day religiously do the exercises to release spasms from the body. It was absolutely right to accept that this is going to be a permanent situation. So people had a lot of suggestions coming our way that, oh my God, she's going to be bedridden all her life, she's paralyzed, she has no sensation in her body. What's going to happen to this young man in his life and his little daughters? Everything was about him. When the man in your life turns around and tells you that, Deepa, you can do it, I think that's quite a support. Basic challenge that I face is the infrastructure. Because when I have to travel and when I have to train, when we go from one place to another, we don't get wheelchair navigable toilets, bathrooms, facilities, accommodation. Our training is expensive, the equipment are expensive, the wheelchairs are expensive if we actually go in for an active wheelchair. The day I decided I want to be a person who should be looked up as an epitome of fitness, when I started working out, when I started working hard, when I started participating in sports, That is exactly how people look at me. Now they call me an achiever. Limca records won Arjuna Award. I've crossed River Yamuna against the current estimated for a kilometer. Driving across 9 high-altitude passes on the highest motorable road of Ladakh highway. I have Asian ranking 1 and world ranking 2 in shot put throw and world ranking 3 in discus and javelin in my category of disability. Break the myth that physically challenged people cannot step out and achieve. Life is the only festival which you can celebrate every day. So live it, be alive, and celebrate.
के पैर लकवे की वजह से हिल नहीं सकते, इसलिए यमुना में वो 1 किलोमीटर रिवर्स यानी उल्टी दे रही। यमुना किनारे दीपा को लेकर लोग नदी की तरफ बढ़े तो सब देखने को बेचैन थे कि दीपा तैरेगी कैसे। जिसका आवाज उसमें बेजान हो, लकवे से जिसके पैर न हिलते हों, वो तैरेगी कैसे? और दीपा ने तैरना शुरू कर दिया।
I'm very proud that I'm back from a Ladakh exhibition drive, which I did in my vehicle, driving as one of the drivers, with 3,000 kilometers in 10 days, covering 9 high altitude passes on the highest motorable road, doing an average of 300 kilometers per day at an average high altitude of 15,000 feet above sea level.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Is this functional? Yeah. Good morning. It was very important to get this AV because I don't have degrees. I was barely 19 and a half when I got just a graduate. That graduation was also forced upon as a matrimonial qualification. And so, you know, seeing is believing, because if I say sitting on a chair, probably you won't be able to even imagine and fathom that a person on a chair can do all this. Because the whole journey that I've set out on has been about breaking a few myths. I was about 5 years old when my legs started feeling weak, and suddenly a tomboy kid was sticking into the room. Mother was very happy. लड़की को अकल आ गई. पहले लड़कों की तरह बाहर कंचे खेलती थी. Now she's inside the house. She's making drawings, playing with the dolls. But within 4 months, my dad realized that was not the Deepa he knew, and he started, trying to find out why this child is not wanting to go out and play. And that is when one day he noticed that I had started touching the wall while walking and asking the bhaiya, the Fauji bhaiya, to pick me up and put me in the school bus, because I didn't want to take the stairs on the bus. That alarmed him. He took me all over the country trying to find out, so much so that even psychologists and psychiatrists was discussed in those days. It was not common, but I'm glad that I had a father who could think out of the box. And finally, after a year of stay at Pune Command Hospital and several lumbar punctures and me coming finally onto the bed, doctors discovered that there was a blockage on my spinal column, and on a hunch they opened and they found a tumor. They operated. It took almost 8 to 9 months of very severe rehab and various gadgetries like a chest brace, a leg brace. I used to look like the Iron Man, you know, one of the sci-fi fiction movie characters when I was all strapped up into that and made to stand up, and I learned to walk. So 2.5 years in and out of hospitals, and out of which I think 1.5 was practically, I don't have a phone on me. So, okay, I'm just going to throw open a question to the house. That in a stage, in an age when there were no internets, there were no cable TVs, even Doordarshan you used to get when you had to put, you know, a 20-foot kalamba baas and then move the aerial every time you wanted to see Chitrahar. No radios, no these FM channels. How did a small kid, 7-year-old for 2 years in a hospital passed her time? How do you think? I mean, when you're unwell, you don't really read a book. I mean, you're bedridden and you're sick. Okay, at this point, I'll request somebody, though I know who is the best dressed today, but I still leave it to your confidence as to who feels that the person is really well dressed today. All the accessories and the paraphernalia. Can someone stand up, raise their hand? Though anybody. It's about your own confidence, my dear. Though I have already marked the person, so may I take the liberty to pass a judgment, or you would like to show your confidence?
You can.
I can? Oh, okay. You feel you're well dressed?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll beat you to it. I'll tell you who's better dressed than you, even in males. You want me to? But we're not in a fashion statement here. But I really want someone who's wearing a lot of accessories. So I'll request the lady who's wearing a beautiful green sari with a nice golden chain in her neck. And she was just asking a question. I saw her on the television here. Yeah, on the screen here. Can you come on the stage for me, please? Yeah. Guys, she is looking pretty. Let's face the fact. Okay. My dear, can you just be here? And thank you for participating.
I think you were more beautiful to carry that smile so
Thank
well.
you, sweetheart. Today morning when you woke up and you wanted to come here, what did you pick first? I mean, in your wardrobe, what you're wearing, the look that you're carrying today. What did you choose to pick first?
I mean, I had
You started with what?
my sari.
Sari. And then you matched the blouse with it, obviously.
No,
It's stitched that way, obviously. I mean, it's with the sari. And then what? The rings and the bracelets. Just raise your hand, let everybody see. It's really matching. It's complementing. And then the chain, and then the footwear. Okay. So what we have seen is, your good name is Aditi.
Aditi.
Aditi has had a base thought on a sari, and then she's accessorized it with everything that is complementing it, which is following it. Thank you, dear. Thank you so much. And you're really looking pretty.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thank you.
What I'm trying to say here is, in those 2 years of my childhood spent in the hospital, reading book was someone said, but what came close to it was stories being narrated to me. Anybody who would sit with me, whether it was a Safai Karamchari, it was a nurse, I would just say, okay, main ek kahani sunao. And every time you do a storytelling, what comes in the end? A moral of the story. And 99.99% the moral of the story is a positive one. So I got lucky that the base thoughts in my mind were all positive thoughts, were good thoughts, were good learnings. And at a stage which is the most impressionable stage. So when we learn to have a base thought as positive, and then we learn to accessorize it with positive, then everything else around it turns positive. You know, I mean, that's what I have learned from my life. You take a negative base thought, and then everything negative starts happening around it. So I guess the best thing that happened to me was 2 years in that hospital. Other way of looking at it is trying to make the best in a very adverse situation. And that is where I'll just take you through this journey. We all have losses. It's not on the screen, yeah? I'm having a bad hair day, yeah? I just realized. Okay. So, at every point of life, I'm not just saying life, every day we could have an up and a down. I'm talking about disability here. It could be an emotional, fallback, a financial fallback, a day not going right, a child being unwell and you have to be at work. Anything that disturbs you negatively can be termed as a loss for that moment, for that day, or for that phase of your life. So it needn't be just disability. I'm talking about disability. So this is what I did. I tried to turn the adversity, and probably that what makes me a little different, because and you see the cake there. That is what I do. I now celebrate my birthday on the 3rd of June, the day I got operated and I got paralyzed. Because honestly, that was the day a new beginning happened to my life. That is if you take it like that. Your glass is half full or half empty is how you have to take it. And we've often felt that whenever a big loss or a sudden loss that comes your way, actually the failures kind of, scare you in life. And they scare you with things like unwillingness to hereafter take risks. They also scare you as, you start looking for shortcuts. There is a lack of conviction in what you do. And definitely a low self-esteem. I was crowned a beauty queen in '98, and I was chest below paralyzed in '99. And with a medical condition, you heard some of it in the audio video, but what I currently have is nothing below chest level. I do not feel my body. On top of that, I have spasticity, severe spasms set in, so everyday physiotherapy is a must. I don't have a bladder or a bowel control. Every drop of water that I drink has to be measured, timed, according to the time that I have to spend outside, according to the AC hall or the weather outside, because my body does not have a temperature control. The temperature, normally a human body has an automatic temperature control. I do not have that. I have a thyroid condition, which makes me gain weight. Excessive medication has forced me to remove the gallbladder surgically. So my digestion is very poor. So what I eat does not get digested. I do not walk at all because I do not have a movement below chest level. On top of that, I have thyroid. So maintaining a weight is the biggest challenge. So what I eat, if I eat too many greens in a day, my stomach becomes loose and I soil my clothes. If I don't eat the right amount of greens and juices in a day, I get constipated, so I have to go to the hospital to get enema done. So these are the kind of issues that I have in my body, and yet you heard the achievements. So I guess what I can preach, and I can preach not from the textbook, from my life experience, and having done it, they say there's a famous saying, practice before you preach. My friends, I have practiced, and that is why I have the right to preach. Life is really beautiful. Keep yourself self-motivated, inspired, keep a desire, have a purpose, have commitment of taking responsibility, work hard, and a real character of a person comes alive. Adversity, like they say, reveals the character. And I often say I'm not educated enough to take lectures at such platforms. I am not, I learned how to hold a javelin at the age of 39 years. The first time I went to international competition or in a competition swimming was at the age of 36 years. I did not know what is CSR. I did not know what is raising an invoice. When I went out on a journey to be a biker, I just wanted to do something crazy because, now another thing which I need to touch upon in my talk, you have to time me because I have so much to say. I often lose Yes.
I'll tell you about 10 minutes.
Yes, you have to time me because I got paralyzed. My husband was at the war, you heard. Very traumatic situation. One child is 3, one child is 6.5. My father's on a foreign posting, my brother's on a course. There is no male member. I'm fighting that battle. I'm being very brave. And people turn around and say, oh ho, करोड़ों का छोरा बर्बाद हो गया. जनरल का बेटा था, तो उसकी जिंदगी बर्बाद हो गई. छोरा भी ना है इनके. You know, I'm from Haryana. So I was like, excuse me, I'm the one who's suffering. So, and I'm doing my best. I did my rehab properly. I trained my body again. I relearned everything. I learned, and this time, and unfortunately, on the 6th day of my surgery, I had a cerebral fluid leakage. The CFS leaked out of the brain through the surgery site, and I was in coma for 45 days. Every machine, I coma in a way where I was alive, I could hear everything, but even my speech went away. And today, whatever little fame or name or little money that I earn is through speeches. I speak, I learned to speak again because the brain became dry and it settled on a corner. And it kind of, I lost speech at that point of time. And I was in a hall where Kargil victims were lined up on ventilators, and every ventilator was beeping. Either my machine was beeping or that one. So every second it was 2, 2, 2, 2 for 45 days. It was worse than a Chinese torture. Coming out of that and still smiling, and yet people not believing the fact that I'm learning to be a person. For years after my surgery, I was continued being called a patient. Every time somebody met me said, "Tabiyat kaisi hai? Tabiyat kaisi hai?" The people stopped coming to my house. अरे उसके घर नहीं जाएंगे, उसको तकलीफ होगी. Little did they realize that if you come and meet me, it'll take away that stress for that 30 minutes. So what? I mean, why go by the stereotype? You come and cook for me, yeah? You get a packet of chips and a bottle of Coke with some disposable glasses. Just hang around with me. Why think कि उसके घर नहीं जाएंगे, उसको तकलीफ होगी? So these were the thoughts. And this little girl of mine is here. She was just in her class 2. We had made arrangements. I had really done my time management and my pre-planning very well. I had adopted new technology. I got microwave. I got better refrigerators. I got those Tupperware containers. Blue lid containers will have breakfast. Yellow lid containers will have something for the meal. I would pre-cook in a day ahead, so that if the maid does not turn up the next day or the cook does not turn up the next day, my children don't go hungry. We have ready food and that can be microwaved and served. But पुराना खाना खिलाती है यार ये तो, बच्चे बासी खाना खा के जीते. Then why have we invented microwaves and refrigerators? It is so easy for us to pass comments. We take it upon ourselves to just drop a comment. So much so that out of choice, she left the poha ka dabba and she says, "Ma, this is a new chocolate cream biscuit come out in the market and we had got it from the canteen." And by choice, she took those 2 packets to the school, trying to show off she was the first to get it in her hands. And the end result in that army school was, iske bacche biskiton pe pal rahe hain. And that is the day I decided I'm going to open a restaurant. I have to start something in which I can tell the world. And I didn't even know that that was a socio-economic project, which eventually was done as a case study in IIM Ahmedabad, and I won a national award for it because I took underprivileged children below poverty line. I went to the local colleges into the school, and that is what it struck me when yesterday Sangeeta ma'am was saying that we should have a 1 square kilometer and you can contribute. And I called these children, I adopted 14 to 17 every year, gave them food, shelter, clothes, job in the evenings. And we started a home delivery counter which turned into a garden restaurant, turned into a catering business. I was not only feeding my children, their tiffins were the best sorted tiffins because I had a Chinese cook, I had an English cook, I had a Mughlai cook, I had a Marathi cook, I had a tandoori cook, And the cooks were told who's going to make the tiffin the next day. They would wait for my children's tiffins to open up. They would wait, and the ladies who would say, no, she can't feed her children, were the ladies whose anniversary parties I started catering for, whose birthday parties I started catering for. She would come at the venue at 8 o'clock. The guests would start trickling at 8:30. She would leave at 11:30. Deepa Malik would get up at 6 in the morning, go to the bazaar mandi, pick up fresh vegetables for the day, go to the dairy, get paneer and milk, cream, go to the meat, get meat, because you're catering for a friend or you're catering for an army officer, you can't go wrong. Marinations, cuttings, then reach the venue at 5, lay the tables, decorations, laying of the cutlery, wiping off, serving the food, and when the lady leaves at 11:30, Deepa is there till 2 p.m., 2 a.m. in the night, because you have to wind up. You have to again close everything. And the next day the lady will say, oh, I got really tired, you know, yesterday we had an anniversary party. So, yeah, I mean, so these were the stereotypes I set out to break. And about opinions. In spite of doing all that, anybody who met me was, अच्छा अब तबीयत कैसी है? Because I used to go to dedicatedly do my physiotherapy for an hour to the nearest physiotherapy center, which had a red plus made on it. So the red plus meant I'm a patient, but if a lady put on a tight Nike jeans and went to the gym, she was hot. She was cool. I was a patient. So it's just that I needed that kind of trainers to do my exercises, and not that kind of a trainer who did 1, 2, 1, 2. I needed a better. But perception, we very easily form opinions, and that is a very universal flaw that we have. It is dangerous to any relationship, to family, to corporate, to teamwork, to having faith in your colleagues. It just doesn't restrict to just this. I'll narrate a story here, you know. I don't know, am I allowed to speak a bit of Hindi? I think most of us, yeah. यूनिवर्सिटी की बसेस चलती हैं दिल्ली में, कोने कोने से नजफगढ़, बहादुरगढ़, इधर के बच्चों को लेके. सो ऐसे ही एक हरियाणा बॉर्डर से बस चली, रोज सुबह चलती थी. एक हरियाणा का जाट 6 फुट 4 इंच 22 इंच के डोले, बिकॉज हरियाणा में बचपन से अखाड़े में डाल देते हैं, दूध पिला देते हैं. तो ये अखाड़े का बंदा, उसका नाम भी भीम सिंह, और वो सुबह सुबह उस बस में आने लगा. ही वुड सिट इन द बस. उसका एडमिशन हुआ, वो यूनिवर्सिटी दिल्ली जाता था, तो बॉर्डर पे बैठ जाता था नजफगढ़ के, और अंदर आता था तो ये मरा सा कंडक्टर, वेरी फ्रेल, इसे टिकट क्या नाम है? नए आए हो? हाँ. नाम? भीम सिंह. गांव? चरखी दादरी. अच्छा, टिकट? ओ भीम सिंह टिकट नहीं लेता. एंड ही वुड सिट डाउन, एंड दिस गाय वुड से, यार इससे टिकट मांगूंगा तो ही इज गोना हिट मी. आई मीन लुक एट हिम, लुक एट हिज साइज. द प्रोसेस वेंट ऑन. Every day this guy would enter, and this guy would say, ticket, and Bhim Singh would say, Bhim Singh ticket nahi leta, and he would sit down. The frustration started setting in into this person's head. He was fighting with his wife at home. दोस्तों के साथ दारू ज़्यादा पीने लगा. जब पैग अंदर जाते थे उसे, यार वो कितना खराब आदमी है, अरे मेरा बस चले तो मैं उसको मारूं, लेकिन वो मेरी बस में आके टिकट नहीं लेता. And so finally the friends told him, yaar, enough of wife beating, enough of backbiting, enough of abusing. You confront him. We will come with you on the bus. मारेगा तो हम बचा लेंगे. कहता यार बचा लोगे ना? हाँ, थोड़ा पिटने देना. कहता okay, get it out of your system. So the next day the friends went with him, and he stopped Bhim Singh, and he said, ticket. And Bhim Singh says, Bhim Singh ticket नहीं लेता. So he says, अच्छा. पीछे ही सौ है ना, फ्रेंड्स है ना, जैसे क्यों नहीं लेता? भीम सिंह टिकट क्यों नहीं लेता? एंड भीम सिंह से, और भीम सिंह के दौरे मंथली पास है. So what was it? Lack of communication, ignorance and preconceived ideas, because this man looked huge, this man looked big, this man was a rustic village guy, he had to be a troublemaker. We so easily form opinions, and these opinions were the ones which started troubling me. I went to a hospital, the physiotherapy center with my husband. I'm very fond of accessories. I'm talking about, you know, the worst thing about these introductions is they give away your age, you know. Anyway, I mean, you really reduced my, you know, chances of 50%, chances of by 50%. I really came dressed up, really trying to impress. Because yesterday I felt it was a hall full of handsome guys, and I mean it. So, you know, this whole thing about me not, so I went to the physiotherapy center, and I honestly am an accessory person. I have 22 shades, chashmas, all colors. I have boots, shoes, I have 43 pairs. I don't walk, but I have all the colors, all the types of boots, everything in my wardrobe. I'm sitting in front, I colored my hair, I had some nice streaks. I was wearing a nice big broad thing and sitting in the front seat. My husband went in to check if my physiotherapist had arrived so that he could take me in. And we had some bikers standing on the side, you know, the boys in the parking area. It's like, oi, dekh mal. So I felt very nice, you know, a paralyzed woman. I was like, oh, okay, I still look like a mal, you know. So I was thoda sa aise, and I was very happy. And then, you know, these guys were smiling, and I was also looking at them like that. Okay, Deepa, you're still being noticed. So what, you're paralyzed, chest down. But then my husband came out. He took out the chair, and he says, Deepa, come, let's go in. And so he picked me up, and he put me, Arey, chalti bhi na aaya, chashma itna bada laga raha. And I asked him, I said, Bikram, wait. And I went to them, I said, Bhai, chashma to dhoop ke liye laga rakha hai. Tu chashma pehan ke chalta hai, I didn't know. I mean, what's the connection? Because we are so filled up with our preconceived ideas. And I would go to a parlor and I would say, Ab kyun aati hai ye parlor? Why? This is alive. This is alive. You know? So, these are the reasons which bothered me, and fortunately for me, I had some passions which I kept alive in me. I was always a biker as a kid, a naughty one at that matter, because in my younger days, my parents used to really pull me up, why are you biking? Because I had to borrow bikes from men. Boys never had bikes. And talking to an unknown man in those days was not a good thing. You know, you were a bad child if you were talking to men and trying to borrow their bikes and riding them. So I was sent on a punishment, this thing. My dad caught me stunting on a bike post my 12th exam. So they put me in a girls' college in a very sober English honors program. And they said she'll go to the hostel. She's getting out of hand. And I was sent to my bua's farm. She'll learn some ghar ka kaam there. Then go to this girls' college in Sophia Ajmer. And then we get her married. She's getting very naughty. There, my bua's farm had 20 buffaloes and cows. They had a dairy. And bullet wala, doodh walas would come there. So I learned to make the best out of worst. I think that has become a habit in me. I grabbed those doodhwala bullets, my balance became better, my biking became better, because you can't ride a bullet, and that too with 20 dolus hanging on the either sides. So my biking improved. I started driving the local jeeps, because village area has a lot of jeeps, and also the tractors. And that became the base of my love for motorsports. And so I was on a punishment. As a teenager, I would have felt very depressed, very suicidal, hating parents. But since I had learned to look for positive in every negative, I made the best of that holiday. And that holiday then has converted me into world record holders as far as driving and rallying is concerned. And this love for bike is what I read. Because what could I do in the body? You know, we need to learn a potential. We need to assess what qualities we have. Each one of us have that. We need to tap those qualities. And I knew I could be a biker. I was a biker in my head and mind, and I wanted to be a biker again. But how can a paralyzed woman be a biker? I learned, I joined an aptech course. People told me Google. I didn't know what that meant. I was not from an age where computers had arrived, and I was not a corporate woman. I was just a housewife. So I learned computers. I did my aptech course. I learned how to write emails. I learned how to make presentations to impress corporates. I learned how to make an invoice. I even learned how to, even spell it. I didn't even know what was all that. I was just a housewife who was destined to die in a room by people because of this ailment that I had suffered from. Yep. And from there, my bike came. And in trying to be a biker, I was told by the doctors I have to strengthen my shoulders. I started my swimming exercises that made the doors of the sports open for me. And again, life offers opportunities. It's we who have the courage to walk through it. At 36, I learned I could swim for the country. A lot of people said she's crazy, she's mad. So many times we don't follow our dreams because people tell us. The opinions matter. I went on to do the swimming, having faced the infrastructure problems and no heated swimming pools in India. I had to shift focus, reassess, reevaluate my potential, and again learned to do through javelin throws and shot put at the age of 39. Got my first medal. It got me to Commonwealth Games. Commonwealth Games got us lucky. They got us in the mainstream. With the able-bodied, we learned the difference between able-bodied policies and disabled policies. It gave me yet another focus, yet another target, and I followed suit with a lot of government offices. Like yesterday, sir said, I turned innovative. I started asking questions. So that landed me as a member in the 5-year planning commission, and I could change 4 major policies for sports. So you can do it if you learn to take initiative. And well, I'll take you through the rest of the journey. There's so much to say, but we have a time limitation. See, the life goes on if you allow it to. Adaptability is a very important factor because the only thing which is permanent is change in your life. I used to wear Indian formals like a good housewife when I was walking. It is the same officer's mess. You see, it's the same place, but we adapted. I adapted Western formals, but I went there. When you adapt yourself to a change, acceptance becomes easy. Women can clap to that. We are blessed to be women. Because, when people had doubts, I will not be even able to get up from the bed. But, well, I tapped on all the different facets of my life. These are the qualities which has helped me to move on. So here's a practical example. It is not shared out of textbooks. A lot of people say, I'm passionate. You can't be passionate about negative things, and negative things can't be your goal. That's not what I preach. You can't say, oh, I love to drink. Oh, I can drink 5 bottles in a night. No. your goals should have value and add value. When I set out on my journey of setting these goals, everything was done with an aim. One was to break the social myth. Swimming across River Yamuna was because we were protesting against a boy who had, who was an athlete in 5,000 meter run. That means 5-kilometer run with left polio in the left leg. He was denied a field job of road survey. And we took up his case with the mayor, and I said, well, make that officer who denied him that job run 5 kilometers. And then he said, no. I said, okay, I give you a challenge. I'm going to cross River Yamuna and you give him a job. It took me 6 months because my coach said to give 1.5 hours in water without touching the wall of the pool, continuously swimming. It took me almost 6 months and 6 hours a day of practice, but we could do it. So that added value to that boy's life. He's still in job. He's even got promoted because it's been a while. And bike, of course, was to break that myth of tabiyat kaisi hai. And driving across 9 high altitude passes was obviously aimed at attracting a few corporates towards sponsorship. Well, that aim is still not being achieved, but I'm not going to give up. I'm continuing because having done it with Tata, well, I'm still awaiting their response. And so this is something. Now here again, like I said, the goal should add value. This was one rally in which we were being felicitated and all of us were appreciated. I was very happy that I was among the titans of the able-bodied. Sabko ek car di gayi, but they forgot to give me a car. And at the end of the stage, I was looking और मेरा पूरा गांव बैठा था. You know how it is in Haryana. एक player को गाड़ी मिलती थी, ढोल नगाड़े बजते थे, and that person used to take the car with the panchayat and the people of your gaon. My gaon was sitting and I was sitting and there was no car. And that day I decided, okay Deepa, time to get a car. So this is what I did. Again, I created a goal for myself and we did this Will on Wheels drive. It turned out to be a world record drive. And it was initiated, I gave this thought process to various automobile and mechanical engineering students and faculties. Finally, Satyabhama University's kids came up. They customized a car for use of physically challenged people with no leg mobility. A good project was done by an institute, a thought process was initiated, and I got my car and a world record. So, if you want to be inspired, you really don't have to step out of your room. That's what I feel. Of course, one of the biggest days of my life, and this is again a very important lesson that I have learned. You know, this is, I know I'm overshooting my time, but quickly, something about plan B. Depressions, sadness always sets in somebody's life. Negativity overtakes because we never have a plan B. In Forge, we are taught if one thing doesn't work, fall back to the plan B. My plan B is outdoors. My plan B is biking. My plan B is camping, flying fox, rafting, anything. So please find your own plan B, and that's a stress buster. Trust me, it works. Because I wake up every day with a fear of the next tumor. Doctors say there'll be no more surgery because they have already battered my spine totally. Only my shoulders work, and between that, they cannot do any more surgeries because the spine will not take it. So another tumor, thank you for me. But these are the things which keep me happy and smiling every day. And a few glimpses of my a lot of people say write a book, and I didn't know where to start and where to end, but I think I found the end. My love of motorsports and my achievements of my sports made me flag off the Formula 1 race. So it was because I am an achiever in the world of sports, it took me to the motorsports. I loved wheels. I got my wheels on the F1 track. I mean, what better than this? Few mantras that I follow, again from my life, not from a textbook. We forget to count our blessings. We are only craving for what we not have. When we learn to say thank you for what we have, that feeling of gratitude will always give you a streak of happiness. Don't mix up contentment with lack of ambition. They're two different things. And of course, all this talk is a waste if you don't put that plug in. Yep. Thank you. Hey, thank you. I love you. Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you so much. But that will still not spare you from questions. Please sit. See, now I'm counting my blessings.
Absolutely, absolutely superb. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
So,
Due to paucity of time, we have, we'll just take 2 questions. Please ask short ones. Thank you.
May I ask all the young Indians not to ask any questions from Ms. Deepa, but to ask ourselves, our perceptions towards life, please.
thank you.
That's what I want to say.
But I would still love a question. I'll feel as if you've heard me. Yeah? Now in men, you would have been my choice, Uday.
Sorry?
If I had to take a man here today who was wonderfully dressed and turned out, you would have been my choice. And I have named him the question man, a Superman, an Iron Man, and so, but yeah, you second that. And when you get a man, Superman or a Spider-Man, that means you're good at it. Please don't take me otherwise. His questions, I've been hearing him for the last 5 sessions, he's been very relevant, and so I'm really looking forward to this question.
Deepa, first and foremost, I'm totally moved.
Thank you.
In this last 1.5 days, I've never been more inspired, touched, and moved. And I'm totally lost for words.
Thank you so much.
Totally lost for words. And you've been counting blessings. I've been counting blessings every single second since the face-off with you this morning, and a bit of face-off with you yesterday in the afternoon. And thank you so much for those nice words. What I really want to ask you is, besides your very, very obvious achievements and overwhelming achievements for people who lead a normal life and who live a life of complaints, this is supernatural. And your zest for life, your love for life, and your love to contribute inside of what you underwent, not as sharing as a disability, but as a possibility for what is there for everybody. And that is phenomenally inspiring. My question to you is, your achievements are without any doubt supernatural. But what's your financial sustenance system?
Oh, I'm so happy you asked me this.
Financial sustenance system from the government where every Tom, Dick and Harry gets eugalized and complimented as well as awarded for things which are not consequential, but which serve some other purpose. What is your financial sustenance system from government? And in spite of earning laurels for country and international level, how have you been lauded in terms of monetary support and monetary sustenance?
That's a beautiful question. And in fact, I'm grateful for this platform today because when I met Mr. Tulsiraj and he asked me, he invited me here, and I read that Confederation of Indian Industries, it gave a spark of hope within me that maybe industries hear of me and invite me as a speaker. Taking to motivational speaking, as I said, I'm not a scholar. I never even knew I could do it. But friends like you advised and they gave me an opportunity. So the major sustenance started coming from there because 2010 when I moved from Ahmednagar to Delhi to play for the country, I had to close down my restaurant business indefinitely. And I've not been able to go back because Commonwealth led to Asian Games, Asian went to World Championship to World Games to Malaysian Open to another World Championship, and I'm again preparing for Asian Games. Yes, it is difficult. The government wakes up towards the last minute and some camps come up. I worked at the policies. Policies are in place now, but implementation is not. When the money started coming in, the federations got greedy and there was an infighting, and now the federation is in the court. So at the end of the day, first, policies were not there, we were on our own. When policies came in, federation is in the court, we are again on our own. So at the end of the day, the sufferer is me. Yes, I'm living out of a room, I'm a general's daughter-in-law, a colonel's wife. The best that I can afford is this size of place in South Delhi. I live under my own arrangements. I can't afford a driver, but fortunately I drive. I have to pay an attendant, I have to pay a physiotherapist. Every javelin which I use for a month for international class training costs me 65 to 70 grands. The supplements from Amway Nutrilite that I take cost me 8 grands a month. So yes, my expenses go up to something like 50 to 70 grands a month on an average. And nobody is asking me from where it is coming. Some cash awards from the medals have come, so I'm recirculating that money. Haryana government has been kind to give after a lot of fight because there was no policy to give a 43-year-old a government job. Age did not permit, but I fought my way. Like I say, I ask questions, but they've given me a grade C which gives me 21,000 rupees a month. My HRA is 2,500 rupees and I'm supposed to be posted at Gurgaon. In 2,500 rupees, nobody will even give me their toilet to use, not to own, even to use. So yes, this is a very valid question. It is a sore point, but I, again, like yesterday Sangeeta ma'am said, infected with optimism. I have hope. And with this hope and considering this need, because a lot of people look at my pictures on FB and say, ma'am, we want to do the same. How do I tell them? I'm managing, I'm doing these funny things like doing rallying and flana and pushing my body and getting some sponsorship. I'm trying to reach out to corporates, no luck as yet, but motivational speaking has supported me a lot. And that is my mainstay, but that everybody can't do. So I have formed, I'm in process of forming Will on Wheels, a kind of a fund, raiser kind of a foundation, which will not only support my training, but I will also adopt a few more like me. That is my next option because I am crying out aloud to corporates to support parasports, to support us. Even we are getting medals for the country.
Deepa, I'd like to turn this question into action point.
Yep.
I'd like to take this back to Y Hyderabad chapter and like to see what we as a chapter can do for this. I would need your support for that.
That I leave to you because see, the finances are so much, the funding can be done, but yes, it should be rooted to the right people, to the right talent. And you really have to judge to who to give and how much to give and what to give. There was a lady, can I take her question please? I don't want to disappoint her, I'm sorry, but since she was already standing and wanting to ask a question, please, with you we end.
Ma'am, I mean, I basically just wanted to say, it's, we are lucky enough to hear a lot of people But this is like just kind of numbed me, and I'm sure a lot of people. So I think what you've done is just incredible. I mean, there is no single word to describe what you've done and the way you speak. So, you know, like I said, you know, we feel so small and insignificant because, I don't know, I came to inspire, that's what my resume here tells me, but I'm going back motivated. No. You've added more responsibility to my inspiration. Thank you so much. But I wanted to ask you, you know, on a very simple level, this positivity, did it just come like, you got up one day and you were like, okay, I'm a ray of sunshine, or, I mean, what is it? I mean, how did you get it? Like I said yesterday, also, I'm a very talkative person and I make a lot of conversation with the superpower there. And when I talk to him, you know what I say? Zindagi tumne yuddh banakar di to kya? Zindagi tumne yuddh banakar di to kya? हार मान हथियार डाल दूंगी. मैं तो वीरांगना हूँ, डटकर लड़कर जीत का संग कर लूंगी. जिंदगी तुमने जहर बनाकर दी तो क्या? जिंदगी तुमने जहर बनाकर दी तो क्या? इसे प्राणों को हरने दूंगी. मैं तो मीरा हूँ, भक्ति की शक्ति से घुट भरकर बेअसर कर लूंगी. जिंदगी तुमने आग बनाकर दी तो क्या? जिंदगी तुमने आग बनाकर दी तो क्या? अपने सपनों को जलने दूंगी. मैं तो सोना हूँ, तप कर, जल कर, निखर कर, पुनः आंखों पे सजूंगी. जिंदगी तुमने लंगड़ी बनाकर दी तो क्या? जिंदगी तुमने लंगड़ी बनाकर दी तो क्या? इसे कुर्सी पर घिसटने दूंगी. मैं तो हिम्मत हूँ, अपने दृढ़ निश्चय से पुनः बिन सहारे के चल लूंगी. Thank you, dear.
Fortunately for us, she's also willing to travel across the country. So any YI chapters wanting to host her, please connect with Tulsi Raj. And, you know, I hope we'll get an opportunity, you know, to interact with you all over the country. So thank you so much.